Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Yemi.
Talks.
So we're here today to continue our conversation. You're going along with us on this journey as we step into the fully retired and semi-retired. So you get two for one. Today we're going to talk about taking care of family obligations that you have in your country of origin before you decide to step out into this wide, beautiful globe of ours and travel. So, some of us have loved ones, children, aging parents,
Pets.
yes, pets, let's not forget them, that you need to make arrangements for. You need to make plans for if you're going to be far away from your home country. That's what we designate United States as. That's our home country. So we have children, like we've shared before. One is still a young adult because she's in her 20s, and one is in his 30s. So I don't think we technically can say young adult anymore.
So young.
After 30, I guess they're still young. But you have to look at what obligations you still have to the family members that you still have in your home country. If you have aging parents, what plans have you made to make sure that they're taken care of?
Grandchildren.
Yeah, if your relationship is like that, and also children, like you said, if you have young children, maybe you started late. We don't know a lot of people that are doing this, that have left their children behind, but I mean, are they coming with you? So we know a few YouTubers that actually travel with their children. They travel the world with their children. They're not retired, they just travel internationally and work as they do that. So, what plans have you made? If you have younger children, what's the education setup going to be? Are they going to be going to physical school in the countries that you're in? Or are they going to do online schooling? So, you have to research that and work out all those angles. If you do have aging parents, what happens to them if you're close, if you're the primary caregiver or the secondary or tertiary caregiver? What plans have you made? Who is going to make sure that mom and dad are well taken care of? Do you have a community that helps you with that? Do you have family members? You have church members, synagogue members, mosque members. Do you have people in your circle that can step in while you're gone? Believe it or not, where you end up spending your time is affected by how soon you can get back to your home country. So what we need to do is, what you will need to do is just figure out, how far away do you feel comfortable being away from your home country? Are you okay with being away from it in a place that requires a full day's journey to get back? What if something happens to your aging parent? What would you want to do? Would you want to come back to your home country and spend some time with them, or do you have other people in place that will step in your absence?
That dovetails into our final segment. Countries that you can potentially move to that are close to the US, that are cheaper to live in, but close to the US, where with one plane ride you can be on US shores.
So before we start the list of countries, I just want to do a quick summary of the four things that we've covered already. When we started this journey, when you hopped on and started this with us, we listed five things. This that we're about to tackle is number five. Make a list of five countries or how many number. Five is just an arbitrary number. So that's the last thing on that list. This is what we did as we started our journey. The number one thing we did, like we've said, is to look at your expenses, right?
Yeah.
Where is the money going? Where is the money that you're making? Where is it going? Two is to eliminate debt. Let's not keep digging the hole, right? You've worked on your expenses. Let's not keep digging that hole. The third thing is to let's find other sources of filling that hole, right? Can you pivot and look for other income other income sources. There's so much out there now that people can do that's out of the realm of the traditional, I gotta go into an office, or I gotta go into work and punch the time clock or sign in. And then the fourth thing is what we just covered today is your
Family
family,
obligations.
yeah, your family obligation. So the fifth thing is to look at countries. What speaks to you? We will continue to say this and hammer this. The countries that may look good on paper may not fit you.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if 95% of other people are rushing to a particular country. If it doesn't speak to you, if it doesn't feel good to you, if it doesn't fit where you are in your life right now, please, please do not be afraid to look at countries that nobody has thought about and forge your own path. So the countries that we're listening to, they are specifically countries that are not too far from North America.
Within a plane ride.
Exactly, within a plane ride for people who still have family obligations, or even if you don't, you have grown kids, like we have kids, like we've talked about, and we really don't want to be long term, more than 3-4 months in places that would require a whole day or 2 days to come back. So these are countries that we just know about. You don't have to stick with this list. Again, what looks good on paper may not fit into what you need to do for your own personal life. So we're gonna start with the countries.
So some of the countries that we have looked at, that we have visited, and we kind of sort of like them, but we can't live everywhere. So the Bahamas is very close to the U.S. It's a boat ride or a plane ride to Florida. Costa Rica is very close. Um, the Dominican Republic, a
Yes.
lot of Americans actually live there, and
Yes.
a lot of Americans vacation there.
Yes.
Panama is another country. It is an English-speaking country, and it's very popular with Americans. No, actually Spanish. Sorry,
Yeah.
Spanish. Yeah,
It's a
but lots of
Spanish,
people
like
speak
Panama.
English there. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Jamaica is another option, as well as our neighboring country, Mexico.
yes, we love Mexico.
Finally, there's Ecuador. So we will talk about these countries in depth a little bit later in another video, where we will talk about uh, the cost of living there, the cost of moving there, what to expect when you go there, when you visit. And of course, we also encourage you to pay a visit to those places, not as a tourist, but kind of go there, live among the people, see if it works for you, see which one works for you.
So yeah, let's talk about how you visit the places on your list, and not live like a tourist. It's wonderful being a tourist in places. Let's not knock it. But your mission and your goal is much different than just for someone who is vacationing.
Yeah.
So when we visited some of the countries that we were considering spending extended time in, we made sure, and we'll continue to do it because we haven't visited every single country that we want to visit, but we made sure that we didn't stay in the tourist bubble. Okay, so how do you prevent this from happening? Meaning staying in the tourist bubble. I'll give an example. Say you want to combine pleasure with your fact finding trip. Say you're staying in a resort. I'm gonna pick Mexico because that's pretty common for North Americans, right? So you decide to go to Mexico because you've been thinking about Mexico, or maybe you've seen a video that says, "Hey, I moved to Mexico and my life is great." Say you decide, okay, I want to mix pleasure with this fact-finding mission, and you decide to stay in a resort. Okay, just okay. Now, when you are in that resort, you've got to get out of that resort. Spending all your time in a resort while you are going on a fact-finding trip is
That's not
pointless.
fact-finding, yeah.
Yeah, it's
No.
pointless. So you're not gonna get the feel of how the culture is. You're not gonna get a feel of how the people move. in that country, you're not gonna get a feel of what it feels like to do the things that the local people do.
Mm-hmm.
When you do go to countries and you just limit yourself to staying in the resorts, not everybody in that country can afford to visit that resort. So the world that you see in that resort,
It's different.
it's not going to be realistic, right? Let's just point that out. It will not be realistic. Because I don't know about you, I don't know many people who live in their home country gets to have their meals cooked, every day, and they have somebody just serving up drinks. That's not real, right? I mean, if that was real, we would not leave the United States either, right? We would all just stay there. But make sure you venture out, please. Do it in a safe way. All of those countries that we're going to be talking about, make sure you do your due diligence as far as the safety awareness. Okay, treat it like you would, like there's some streets in the city and state that we lived in the United
That
States
are not safe.
that are not safe. I mean, I wouldn't venture into them late at night alone. So of course I'm going to do the same thing in countries that I haven't lived, right?
Yeah.
So just be cautious, but don't stay in that bubble of a resort. Take a taxi, take the public transportation if you're feeling brave, and go to the places that they go to the malls that they go to the mercados that they go to. Take a walk down a busy street that you see people, go to the parks that the local people go to. Do not sit just in the resort.
Be even more realistic. If you know somebody who lives in those places, you can go stay with them or stay near them so they can show you around. They're not living in resorts, so they know where things are, where to go, where not to go. So you get a feel for the people, for the culture, and then you can decide if it's for you or not.
Yes. So we'll tell you. I mean, we traveled quite a bit with our children, and I know as they were growing up, and one thing we always did was even if we stayed in a resort, we would always step out of that resort. We would get on public transportation. We would walk. We would get in taxis, right? We would
Yeah.
go to the hole in the wall
Places.
restaurant
Yeah.
with the best food ever. We traveled with them like that. So even though we combined pleasure with fact finding, they were still able to get that pleasure piece. We were still able to stay in resorts and be pampered and swim when you want to swim. Your food is cooked when it's time to eat, even if you're not hungry. But we were able to combine that. So please make sure that you venture out into these places when you decide to visit them. Just simply taking a walk, you'll be amazed what you observe. You'll be amazed what you run into. You'll be amazed what kinds of information, like important organic information, that you can gather from just observing.
Yeah.
So we've got Mexico, Costa Rica. We loved Costa Rica. That's literally what, 4 hours away, a 4 hour plane ride, and they're direct flights, people.
Yeah.
They're direct flights that you can go from the U.S. straight to Costa Rica.
Now, for some of these places, you might have to learn a bit of Spanish. It's
Most of
especially
them.
if you're going to South America, you might have to learn some
Yeah.
Spanish. Now, that does not mean that you can live in some places where even though they speak a lot of Spanish, you still see a lot of people who speak English. So
Yes.
it might not be a problem or for some people, depending
Yes.
on where you live. But
Yes.
if you are going to go live in some country where they speak a different language, I think it's only fair that you learn the language. It helps to foster a good relationship with the locals.
Yes, it really does. And language is part of the culture of a place. So if you're committed to learning about the culture, because it's good to learn about the culture of a place that you're going to spend a little bit of time in, than just learning a few words of the language. And most locals, as you travel, they're very forgiving. They know you don't know the language, so forget about grammar and proper syntax.
So when you kill it,
Yeah,
they
they
just
just
smile
smile,
and
they
correct
smile.
you.
They just smile. I'm very guilty of this. I know just enough to get by in the places that we spend some time right now in South America, we're in Latin America, and it's a Spanish speaking country. So I know enough words to just get by, to be dangerous in getting my stuff across, but they're very forgiving. So the list of countries, we have the Bahamas. That is English, so that's good. You don't have to learn Spanish there. Costa Rica, you definitely have to learn Spanish. But Costa Rica, they speak a lot of English. We discovered that.
Speak English, yeah.
Oh my gosh, they speak a lot. I actually didn't get a chance to practice my Spanish a lot while we were there because a lot of people, they just defaulted. I guess they see us and they go, okay, we're just going to default to English for them. The DR, they speak quite a lot of English there too, Dominican Republic. That has a special place in our heart. We love the DR. We haven't actually spent time in Panama, but it's on our list, and hopefully, probably before this video is released, we would have spent some time in there. Jamaica, oh, of all the countries on this list, Jamaica holds a very, very special place in our hearts, and it's English. So that's one of the good news about Jamaica. It's English speaking, and it's literally what you can hop to Montego Bay in 3 hours. It's very close to the U.S. So
I don't know if it's 3 hours, but it's very close.
it's very close, yeah. And of course, Ecuador is on that list. Ecuador from New York or Miami or Washington, they have like 5.5 hour flights.
I mean, basically, the countries that we've mentioned are within 8 hours flights to the US.
Or less.
Or less.
Yeah.
So they're not more than 8 hours. So
Yeah, or less. Yeah, so those are the countries for people who don't want to go far. Yeah, Europe may sound great, Asia may sound great to you, but you may be one of those people that just don't want to be that far away from your home country, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The wonderful thing about charting this course, and stepping into the next chapter, or living differently than you've been living, is you get to design. Oh, I cannot speak. You get to decide and design what this looks like for you. Nobody else can do that for you. So what looks good on paper may not fit what you're trying to do in your personal life. So put down in the comment section, guys, what countries are on that bucket list? What countries have you dreamt of spending some time in? Put some comments on there. We're here to learn from each other. We're building a community as we go on. If you found any value at all in this video, please share with your loved ones, with your community, with your village.
And please like and subscribe.
Yes, yes, yes. Until next time, have a good rest of your day, and ciao.
Ciao, ciao.